All right, I'm back again. This is Coralla at CorallaFicklin.com, WelcomeNetwork.com, Welcome.com, Pedians.com. As I said in the other video, Pedians is where I have available all my writings, whether I'm talking about books that I've written, papers that I've written, whatever. Also, if you want to get the study cards and the study guides that I've created, that I've developed, that we have created and developed at WelcomeNetwork.com, you can go to WelcomeNetwork.com, and you can also go to iStudyCards or iStudyGuides. So it's iStudyCards.com or iStudyGuides.com, and we have thousands of study guides and study cards, anything from idiomatic expressions, idiomatic synonyms, slang synonyms, scientific affixes, that is scientific prefixes, suffixes, roots, non-American English, and that would be for American speakers who want to learn another version of English, Cockney rhyming, slang. Oh my God, we have expressions, metaphorical expressions with the verb to be. We have thousands of those. Color expressions, food expressions. Go check it out at iStudyCards.com or iStudyGuides.com, or you can go to Welcome Network, WYLCOME network.com, and there you'll see everything that's available. But right now I'm talking about going from English to Spanish. And it's funny because, as I was saying before in the other video, you go into another language, you have to open up. I always say you have to open up your brain, or make a path that didn't exist before, or hadn't existed before. And I think in Spanish and English it's just the opposite. Spanish, it appears to be that the words that you can say, because if you learn how to pronounce the vowels, if you learn how to pronounce some of the consonants that don't exist in English, you're okay. Okay, you can pronounce the word, but you have to learn how to pronounce it. It's I, A, E, O, U, and Nino, no versus Nino, and goal versus llamar, L versus LL. But the hard part, or the challenging part in Spanish, is the grammar. That's challenging. Where in English, it's almost just the opposite. Because in English, the pronunciation is extremely challenging. Because English is a hodgepodge of so many different languages. In the beginning, it's a hodgepodge of, when hodgepodge I mean a mixture. In the beginning, it's a hodgepodge of all the different languages on the Germanic branch of the language tree. So you're talking about a little bit of Dutch, a little bit of Danish, a little bit of Norwegian, all these different Germanic languages. Old Norse changed English quite a bit. And then in 1066 you have the French invasion. Then you had, that's Norman French versus Parisian French. And then you had the Renaissance. Then you had classical Latin. Then you had classical Greek, and then you have vulgar or medieval Latin, and all that thrown in there. And then we're talking about regional differences. It can be trying. It can be challenging. So, but when you're talking about the grammar, I think over the years English grammar has become less and less complicated. I'm not going to say easy, because what's easy depends on what you're used to. Someone who speaks Chinese is not difficult. I mean, there's trying things about Chinese, but the different tones, you know, ma, 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 and being able to do all the different tones. If you're used to that, and that's what you've been taught, the person's not going to say it's easy, but it's understandable. So I don't want to say easy, but less challenging, because English has been getting rid of things that other languages have kept. For example, in English, there was the difference. In Spanish and in French, and I'm pretty sure in Italian, I know in Portuguese, you have the difference between someone you know or someone in a superior position in society to you, when you say you, versus someone that you don't know. I mean, someone that, or someone that you don't know, or someone in a superior position in society to you, or someone that's not necessarily that you're close to. You use one form of you, and in English, I mean, and when you know, a friend or someone of your same age, someone donde hay confianza, you know, you trust or know each other, you use another form. In Spanish, it's usted versus tú, or tú versus usted. English used to have that. There was you versus thou. And you can still see it. You can still see it in the Bible. And in the Bible, people say they thee and thou you. Right? But ironically enough, the word that was eventually eliminated wasn't the informal, which would have been the two in French or in Spanish, but what was the two was what was eliminated, the thou. What was kept was the usted or the vous, which in English is the you. So everybody was addressed with the you, which was the formal. English at one time also had inflections. Just like in Spanish, you can tell a lot about a verb by its ending. You know, if it ends in O, and not with an accent, but if it ends in O, it's I. If you're talking about an AR verb, if it ends in AS, then you know it's tu. Excuse me. If it ends in AMOS, you know it's nosotros. English also used to have that. English also used to have, now this is a long time ago, and I'm talking about more about Middle English and Old English, and maybe the beginnings of Modern English. English also used to have gender, the articles, masculine versus feminine, and the adjectives had to agree. But with time, English, and I say as a result of historical forces, cultural forces, English began to rid itself of all those different aspects of grammar that the Latin-based languages kept. But one thing, and as a result, we haven't learned to think along those lines. English speakers haven't learned to think along those lines. So when you go into a language that does have all those aspects, it can be difficult. So in the next video, what we're going to talk about is definite articles. That is, when the definite article, when it's masculine versus feminine, and why it's important to get it right. Also looking at accents. Accents aren't just exotic. We have accents in English, and you know, we have them there, and we put them on there because it looks pretty or it looks exotic. But accents play a role in language, a very important role. And a lot of times you don't put the accent, or if you put the wrong accent, the word is misunderstood. Okay, Coralla Ficklin at corrallaficklin.com, and don't forget you can get any of my writings. You can get All my writings at pedians.com.